Only good roach is a dead roach. Let me show you how to make that happen. Good morning, it's your friend Raphael with Diamond Standard Pest Control. Welcome back to our roach series. This is the second video in the series. I would strongly suggest watching the first one if you haven't. I'll leave a link on the description. And that one will go over inspection. Today we're going to be going over treatment and elimination of the roaches. So now that you have completed your inspection, usually a lot of people will go into treatment with this mindset. I'm gonna go buy some stuff from, whatever grocery store you go to, Walmart, Smith's, whatever. But you go in without a plan. You go in without knowing what roaches are doing or how they live, and you gotta understand that if you're going to treat effectively, otherwise things that you're doing just aren't going to work. It's like Sun Tzu says, know your enemy, right? So what most people do is buy these insecticides, spray all over the place with these canned insecticides, maybe buy some of that gel, which all that stuff works. It is good if you're using them properly, but there's a lot of improper usage, which will only lead to more bugs and just no control of the situation whatsoever. So I wanted to go over what we do in order to get the problem under control. First thing we do is inspect. After that is done and we see the problem areas and see what we have to do, we come up with a plan. And before spraying anything, I know a lot of people go, we got to call this guy to spray. Before I even spray anything, once I find where the problem is, I go to my favorite thing, which is bait. And it's the liquid gel bait. A lot of the times you can find it in your local supermarket, but people use it in a way it's not meant to be used for. You don't need a whole lot of it. A lot of people use it like caulking, just put it right along their cabinets, and they think that this is going to get rid of the roaches. But the problem with that is that it will trigger what we call bait avoidance. Roaches are a lot smarter than people think. If there's a lot of food in one area, they might avoid it because it's a little skeptical. They're foragers, they just a little drop will go a long way. They will feel like they found food and they'll take it back, and because they share the food, it will be very effective. Next thing I do after doing a treatment like that is I look for areas where cracks and crevices where it's going to be hard for me to use a residual insecticide, use a spray in order to kill those roaches. And that's where I use my next favorite tool, a hand duster. So dust insecticides, they still work very similar to spray insecticides. And the main difference between them is a powder form. You can put them in little voids, crevices, and the dust will go in and expand. It'll hit your insects, and it will typically last longer than a liquid residual insecticide. This should help in those hard to reach areas because you can spray all you want around those areas, but it's not going to reach the insects which you want to kill. And last of all, what most people are familiar with is a residual insecticide. A non-repellent is what we use, and there's a reason for that. When you use an insecticide, if you don't know the difference between a repellent and a non-repellent, uh, you could be making a mistake. You could be in a lot of trouble because of that too. See, repellent insecticides will kill some of the roaches, but the roaches will be able to detect it. Um, when they detect the insecticide, the whole idea that they get is, well, we're not gonna go over there. A lot of people think that that is a good idea, right? We want to repel them away from the house. Well, yes, but it's not gonna quite work out that way. Say you use a repellent behind your refrigerator. Well, the roach is gonna be thinking, we're not gonna go behind your refrigerator. We're gonna go behind your countertops now. We're gonna set up shop there, or we're gonna move into the bathroom. I've gone to a lot of houses where they've used repellents, and what was a small problem now ends up being a big problem. Foggers are a big example of that. A lot of people will just buy what they call bug bombs. They'll set them up in their house. It'll be a giant cloud of insecticide, which will repel them, which will kill them on contact, just like most canned insecticides will. But the ones that it doesn't, it'll drive them into other areas that now it's a problem. You got to deal with this, and it's a bigger problem than it originally started. I've been called to a lot of houses where this is the case. We used to see them only in the kitchen, and now we're seeing them everywhere. It just makes the job a little harder, but you can still take care of this problem, and I'm going to show you how. So we're going to go back to that kitchen where we did the inspection, and I'm going to show you exactly what we did in order to get that problem under control. So just stay tuned. So we're back here again in our kitchen, and just to go over what we found in our first video, we did find some signs of activity behind the refrigerator. We did find some activity down underneath our cabinets, and we found a few other areas that need treatment. Now that we've done the inspection, we can move ahead with treatment for these cockroaches. Again, this kitchen has been treated already, so we're not going to see a lot of live activity, but we will treat the areas where we found fecal matter and dead activity, among a few other things which need treatment. So I'll go ahead and get started. We're probably going to start behind the refrigerator. Alrighty, I spared you guys the image of a man struggling to move a fridge, but we are moving on now to the treatment, and I have everything here that I talked about earlier. We're going to start with the bait, and with all this stuff, always safety. Make sure that you're wearing gloves. Sometimes it's safe to wear goggles also. But we're gonna start behind this fridge, and if you guys remember the first video, we found fecal matter right underneath the top cabinet right here, so we're gonna be baiting those areas, and I'm gonna show you how to do that. Just grab the phone right here, take you guys on a journey with me. So again, if you missed it in the first video, these little dots that you're seeing above this this cabinet, or below this cabinet, I guess, that's fecal matter from the roaches. What that usually tells me is that in here there's probably going to be some activity hiding in the little edges of this cabinet. So a little bit of bait goes a long way. That's about all you need. As you can see, I've done it before, and it works really well. They share their food, so just a little dot, that's all you need. We also saw some of it over here. don't know if it shows up well on camera, but there is those little dots right there. That tells me that there was fecal matter behind this cabinet as well. So a little bit of bait right there will go a long way. And I like to do it just in multiple different spots. A lot of people will take this stuff and then just, you know, use it like caulking. And like I mentioned before, that's not a very good way to do it, because what will happen is, believe it or not, roaches will avoid that and they don't want to eat it. And, you know, you just waste your money buying bait and nothing will happen with it. Other areas you want to bait, if you're seeing them around your cabinets, I like to do it around these little hinges. Just a little bit right there. And this stuff will dry and it will come off. So it won't stain your cabinets. Alrighty, the next step is gonna be spraying the surface behind the fridge. And again, we are gonna use a non-repellent, and I'm gonna take a second just to show you what the difference is between a repellent and a non-repellent. Because a lot of people just, you know, grab something off of the shelf not knowing what it is, but this is what you need to look for. You need to look for the active ingredient. So what I have here is a repellent, suspend polizone. I will put my finger right here where the active ingredient is. I don't know if you can see it, but if you can't, I'll go ahead and have my editor put it on screen. But you see that the active ingredient is something called deltamethrin. And you want to pay attention to those last 3 letters of the active ingredient, RIN. What that means is that more than likely this was made using pyrethrins. And pyrethrins in pest control are a big repellent. This stuff is great, you know, I use it all the time. This just wouldn't be a situation where I would use that. A pyrethrin will be great, like using it outdoors, using it in an area where you want bugs not to go into that area. You know, using a repellent will be great on that. But what we're going to be using today is this chemical, and you can see the main ingredient there, indoxacarb. That means it's a non-repellent most of the time if it doesn't have those last 3 letters on that active ingredient. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna show you exactly how to do this. Alrighty, so what we have here is called a B&G. It's a pressurized sprayer. How it works is we make sure to add water into it, because most of the chemicals that you're going to use is going to be diluted with water. You read the label, you make sure you put just enough chemical in it, shake it up, and you're going to take this handle, will come up, and you're going to pump it till there's enough air pressure in there that the chemical will come out of the sprayer. You don't need a lot. A lot of people will flood their houses. I've even seen technicians do this, but you really only need a light spray. I'll show you real quick. It's nice and quick. I like to get all of the angles and try to go up the wall as well. That will be more than enough to take care of any roaches that are going to be here. And it will cover. It should last somewhere between 30 and 45 days. I'm not 100% sure about that. I would have to read the label, but most of these products will last somewhere between 30 and 45 days. After that, you need to reapply, and I would suggest doing it throughout the kitchen. As soon as I move this refrigerator back into place, I will do that. But this is just to show you guys exactly how I do treatment. So I wanted to take a second to talk more about the spray you just saw me use. What they're called are residual sprays. And how they work is when you have the product diluted in that sprayer with water, you're spraying a small film around the area where you're treating. Now what happens is the water will evaporate, and all that's going to be left is just a small residual film of the product that you used, and that will be killing the roaches in this case, but it will work for other insects as well. It will be killing all of these pests, and you don't really need a whole lot. Like I said, you're not going to make them more dead. You're just gonna be wasting a lot of product. And some of these products, if you may want to read the label, because some of them will say it can irritate the skin, it can you might have trouble with your eyes if you get it in your eyes. We try to be as safe as possible. We spray enough to kill the bugs, but not enough that it's gonna hinder you in any way. I would strongly suggest taking our approach, less is more in this case, if this is what you're gonna be doing. I'm gonna finish treating the rest of the kitchen, put back the refrigerator, and we're gonna check out the other areas where I found activity. Alrighty, so moving on, we're gonna be treating this cabinet underneath the sink. Here are the tools of the trade we're going to be using. You got your bait, your duster, and your sprayer. If you remember the first video, we saw some dead roaches inside here. I cleaned them out, so you probably won't see them here. But anywhere where there's dead activity, there could be live activity, so I always treat these areas a little heavier. We're going to be using the bait just like we did behind the refrigerator, and here I want to go ahead and put that on the hinges, just anywhere where roaches like to nest, where they can find this stuff. The hinges is always really good, because sometimes they do like to build nests around that. Right there as well. Might be a little much, but that should do it. Deep back here as well. A little bit of bait. Not a lot, but just enough for them to find a chair. We do have a hole right there. This is where our hand duster comes in. And what this is just an insecticide in dust form. Now in here you can't really spray. You don't really know what you're spraying, but just a few puffs in here, and what will happen is a little cloud of dust will expand, and it will cover that area with insecticides. It actually lasts a little longer than even the liquid will, and it will do pretty much the exact same thing. Last thing, like always, I go in with my sprayer, lightly spraying around the corners, non-repellent again, and this will make it so the roaches don't notice the chemical. They'll stay in this area and they'll continue dying without much risk of them spreading to other parts of your house. Now the final step is I like to put a coating throughout the kitchen. I go light, but it's just enough so that the traffic that you saw in the kitchen will hit the areas that I sprayed. There's more of a chance of that happening. I might move the stove as well and spray behind that. Other places I do like to treat are like around this stove and the microwave. If you look right here, you can see the food debris, and usually you'll have roaches nesting around that area because it's so close to the food. And I don't spray these areas because you could damage the electronics. I don't do much really. I just make sure to leave the bait and just wait for them to take it. Thing with this bait, I'll put it to you like one of my old colleagues used to put it. You know, this is a hot dog, that is prime rib. They'd rather eat that than that. So what I'm trying to say is just clean up. You want to try to clean it as much as you can, because it'll be more effective for them to be able to go to that if that's the only food source that they can find. And if that's the only food source that they can find, you can get this under control a lot faster. Alrighty, so now you know how we do inspections and treatment. We just showed you the kitchen. That's all the permission we had to shoot, just the kitchen. But we are the Diamond Standard when it comes to pest control, so we did do a whole home inspection as well as treatment, and we made sure that our customer is protected. So if you want to find out more, you can check out our website. I've been writing a bunch of different articles over there on what we do. You can also hit us up if you're in Las Vegas and you need help with your pest control. My information is going to be all in the description. And stay tuned to the channel. We'll be talking about some other stuff. I have a video coming out talking about different types of roaches to kind of cap off this series. We're going to start talking about scorpions, just preventionary treatments that we do on a day-to-day basis. So stick with us if that's something that interests you. Like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.